Hi, my name is Miel, and I am a knitter. My mother taught me to knit when I was 8 years old, and I've been knitting ever since. I've made everything from mittens and hats to sweaters and afghans. And I have 2 projects I do that people really like, and I thought I'd share them with you. This video is going to demonstrate how to make what I call a Morse code scarf. This is my scarf. As you can see, it's fairly long. I've doubled it over here so that I can show you. It's a simple striped scarf, but there's a little secret to the stripes. As you can see, they're narrow and wide, and that's to represent Morse code. You've got dots and dashes, and what I've done here is spell out my name in Morse code. D-A-L-E-M-I-E-L. And for a dot, that's 2 rows. For a dash, it's 4 rows. And then within the letter, I separate the stripes with the 2 rows of the base color to separate the stripes. To separate the letters, I do 4 rows of the base color. And then to separate the words, I use 8 rows of the base color. And to start a project, you take the person's name, and I do a Google search for Morse code, and that gives me the Morse code alphabet, and I write out the person's name, then put the Morse code equivalent right underneath the name. So this scarf that I'm working on right now is for Craig Hunt. So you've got Craig Hunt, and then underneath it you've got in Morse code C-R-A-I-G-H-U-N-T. And Craig wanted his scarf to be a dark blue, with off-white stripes. So the pattern starts with number 9 knitting needles for an adult scarf, and for a child scarf I use number 7 knitting needles. You take the base color, make a slip knot, and then cast on 40 stitches. Now, I started making these scarves when a friend at my church asked me to make him something. He wanted something that I had made for him. And we discussed different ideas, a hat, gloves, mittens, and settled on a scarf. And he wanted a striped scarf in University of Michigan colors, blue and maize. But I wanted to do something a little extra with the stripes, and I came up with the idea of using narrow and wide stripes for Morse code and spelling out his name. And the scarf turned out, it looked real nice, and the added secret of having his name in Morse code was, well, he really enjoyed that idea, and so did other people. So more people wanted me to make scarves for them, and like I said, I just thought I'd share the pattern with you. So as I said before, you cast on 40 stitches. This is the way my mother taught me to cast on. And I will be using the method she taught me for knitting, but you may have learned a different style of knitting. Whatever style you use, whatever you're comfortable with, use it. The pattern will come out the same no matter what you do. So you cast on 40 stitches. Let's see how many I've got here. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 24, 26, and I can see already that I do not have enough yarn to make 40 stitches. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take it apart and start. I'm going to give myself more yarn and start over. Now, when you look up the Morse code on the for your scarf, you want to make sure that you get the right code for each letter. I made the mistake once. I made some scarves for some friends of mine, and their last name was Wallman. But when I looked at the Morse code, I accidentally copied down the code for Z instead of W. So, and I didn't realize it until I had knitted 3 of the 4 scarves I was making, and decided at that point that I'd just go ahead and use the same code for all 4 scarves instead of tearing apart 3 I'd already finished. So they ended up with Zolman instead of Wellman, and fortunately they have a good sense of humor and they thought it was a good joke. But you want to make sure that you have the right code. Four, 6, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So that's the first 40 stitches cast on. As you can see, the tail here is kind of long, so I'm going to trim that using my handy scissors here. And this way it won't get in the way while I'm knitting. There we go. Now, something I like to do when I start a project is knit the tail into the first 5 stitches. That way it's not as likely to come undone while you're working on it. It's not likely to come undone anyway, but I always figure better safe than sorry. So that's the first 5 stitches, and then just knit the rest of the way across. And the start of the pattern is just to knit the first 16 rows. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to knit the first 2 rows, and then I'm going to pause the recording and come back when I finish the first 16 rows and show you how to add the yarn for the stripes and how to make the stripes.